Welcome back to The Explainer. So glad you're here today because we are tackling two of the most loaded, overused, and honestly deeply misunderstood words in the entire English language. I'm fine, right? We hear it literally all the time, we say it all the time, but what's actually going on beneath the surface there? Today, we're going to peel back the psychological onion on this super common behavior and look exactly at what the human brain is doing when it hides behind this tiny two-word phrase. Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to pull up a memory, and I guarantee pretty much everyone watching has experienced this. Have you ever been with someone, maybe a partner, a friend, a coworker, and they are visibly stressed, or angry, or just really sad? You gently ask them, "Hey, what's wrong?" And bam, they instantly shut down and hit you with a clipped, "I'm fine." You can literally see the tension radiating off them. You hear that undeniable shift in their tone, but they completely refuse to let you in. They just brush off the question like absolutely nothing happened, even though the whole room feels like it's vibrating with their stress. Now, when we're on the receiving end of that, our gut reaction is usually, well, frustration. We naturally lean into this common myth. We assume they're just being stubborn or passive-aggressive or intentionally trying to push us away. But psychology actually reframes this whole thing. The reality is that saying "I'm fine" usually isn't an attempt to annoy you or reject you. Actually, it's the exact opposite. They are in pure psychological survival mode. It's this deep-seated instinctual reaction to emotional distress. And this brilliantly illustrates what's going on clinically. Saying "I'm fine" is a literal defense mechanism. Their brain is actively treating emotional exposure as a severe, imminent risk, a real threat. So to cope with that threat, the brain chooses to isolate those feelings. It does this to maintain a vital sense of control and, ultimately, to protect the person from perceived judgment. So we're going to spend the next few minutes unpacking the 5 distinct psychological layers that trigger this incredibly powerful defense mechanism.
Let's start with layer 1, hiding the emotional burden. You see, a lot of times people are carrying around this silent, really heavy belief about their own personal struggles.
It usually sounds a little something like this. Internal monologue. I don't want to be a burden. Admitting you need help, that can feel incredibly uncomfortable, and they silently believe that dumping their problems on you is just going to stress you out. So, by instantly defaulting to "I'm fine," the person successfully avoids feeling guilty or needy or emotionally dependent on anyone else. It's kind of a wildly empathetic, though definitely misguided, attempt to protect you from their pain while also protecting themselves from the guilt of asking for help. Moving a little deeper into the onion, we hit layer 2, avoiding emotional exposure. You know, when we're struggling, our insecurities just naturally make us feel completely raw and vulnerable. So the crucial point is that because of that raw vulnerability, people will work astoundingly hard to hide their insecurities, their confusion, or just their sheer emotional exhaustion from the rest of the world. They simply do not want anyone to witness them failing. Keeping their pain private acts as this invisible psychological shield. To an overwhelmed brain, distance feels vastly safer than being emotionally seen. If they let you in, they risk exposure. But if they keep you at arm's length with a quick "I'm fine," they stay safe and sound inside their own protective fortress. And that intense desire for safety brings us right to layer 3, isolation as a shield. When life, or even just internal emotions, gets wildly unpredictable, people desperately seek control. By throwing out an "I'm fine," they're essentially hitting an immediate conversational kill switch. Think about what this shutdown actually achieves for them. First, it guarantees zero expectations from you. Second, it guarantees no uncomfortable conversations. And most importantly, it completely removes all pressure to explain their complicated, messy emotions to a captive audience. It is pretty much the perfect escape hatch from any kind of social pressure. Okay, now we reach layer 4, which is honestly perhaps the most physically grounded reason of them all, the cognitive energy crisis. We constantly forget just how much physical and mental energy stress actually consumes. Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is the actual math behind that internal drain. Imagine your total mental capacity at any given moment. When you're stressed, a staggering 95% of that capacity is actively being consumed just by experiencing and managing the stress itself. That leaves a measly 5% left over for finding the right words, untangling messy thoughts and translating them into a coherent explanation. That just requires way more mental effort than they have left in the tank. They aren't intentionally ignoring your question. They genuinely, literally lack the cognitive energy to engage. So "I'm fine" just becomes this fast energy-saving reflex. Which finally brings us to layer 5, pressing the pause button. In the heat of the moment, the human brain desperately needs space for emotional regulation.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because if they try to explain what's wrong right away, they carry a very real, terrifying fear of breaking down, losing total control, or just making the situation entirely worse. So they use a highly actionable sequence to catch their breath. Step 1, say, "I'm fine," to immediately buy some time. Step 2, use that newly bought time to process the problem silently, totally away from prying eyes. And step 3, share the issue later on, but only when they're feeling safe and regulated. "I'm fine" is simply the pause button the nervous system absolutely needs to transition safely from panic into processing. To tie this all together, we have to recognize a really fundamental difference here. Vulnerability requires a massive amount of trust and cognitive energy. Survival mode, on the other hand, strictly requires protection and distance. I want to reassure you, hearing "I'm fine" when someone is visibly upset does not mean they lack trust in you. It doesn't mean they don't value your support. It simply signals that their overloaded mind has temporarily chosen protection over connection. So, what does this all mean for us? Well, by recognizing "I'm fine" not as a personal rejection, but as a crucial defense mechanism, we can completely change how we respond. We can replace our own frustration with profound empathy, giving them the quiet, safe space they need until they are truly ready to connect. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. How will you provide psychological safety the next time someone you love tells you, "I'm fine"? Because understanding the hidden psychology behind these everyday words is kind of like unlocking a superpower. It reveals so much about ourselves and everyone around us. If you enjoyed peeling back the layers of human behavior with me today, please make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you in the next one.